Support the He podcast via a one-time donation, a monthly subscription from as low as $1, a lifetime membership, and purchase He's exclusive collection of merchandise. And for all other business inquiries at buymeacoffee.com/Rafi. Who is he? He is me. Hi, I'm Rafi Redzwan. This is he. Here is my chance to share some amazing stories with some amazing people that are inspiring to me. He celebrates everyday people of everyday life. He revolves around conversations that inspire others to change the world and make a difference in life, with a little bit of laughter and a whole lot of drama. Join me for personal stories and experiences on health and healing, successes and failures, recovery and discovery, anything relatable, and anything in between. He elevates us to rise again and live our very best life. Just so you know, you are not alone. He is with you. Hi Razif,
Hi, Riffy.
how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you for saying yes. I'm starstruck, my first actor, and I'm so honored you said yes to me and having to join me in this conversation in my one of the last episodes of the podcast. This is the final season, and I'm so honored to feature your story, Razif.
I am very honored to be the last guest in your last show. This is quite a spot that I secured myself. Thank you.
Yes, and wonderful. This is a story of how you redefine success. You speak a lot on social media. You've done multiple podcast shows. You appeared on radio. For the last few episodes of my final season, for me, you are a voice of a generation. What does it really mean to succeed as an actor, also cultural advocate and director general of My Max Food? Hope you reframe this conversation around legacy, identity, and what it means to truly make an impact. You've been in the industry for so long. I've watched some of your movies, and I'm actually very honored to actually speak to you. I feel like Oprah talking to an actor who's been here for so long, and I want to hear your voice, career, entrepreneurship, and public service. I hope you share how chasing purpose that led you to redefine success in your own terms. What does success look like to you today, and how has your definition of it evolved over the years?
Riffy, thanks so much for, your kind words. I really do feel honored that, you think of me that way. To be honest with you, people with drive, with purpose, with passion never think of themselves that way. We just want to do things and, we want to do good. And I think a lot of people think that way as well when they do things. And, the fact that you notice is really just an honor already. To answer your question, what success looks like today, it's really interesting because you're looking for how it's evolved over the years. The word evolve is the most important thing because success is somewhere you never reach. It's always evolving. It's like today I managed to achieve something and then suddenly, immediately, the success is not enough. Don't say that it's not enough. The purpose becomes bigger. That's really the crux and the key of it, right? Success to me today is what I don't have today and what I want in the future. And I don't think that is something I used to think it like. I used to think like, okay, I'm going to reach something and then that's it. Yay. And then what's next? I never thought of what's next. But now success is actually thinking about what's next, what's next. So I don't really look at success anymore. You know what I mean? I don't know what it means anymore. I just know what evolve means. And I think that's more important than success.
I know what you mean because I think if you define success by comparison, we can be either successful or failure. Because at every level, say if I compare myself to Oprah Winfrey, I'm nothing. Betul tak?
I mean, yeah, but
Huh.
that depends on how you find successful.
Yes. So earlier, when you asked me, like, why did you want to end the season?
Yes.
I think I've reached that level of success in my own terms. So I'm not going to compare myself. I know what success, because this level of success in my terms term is that I've done what I wanted to, and then I think it has accomplished to a certain level that I think I never thought that I would ever reach.
I want to follow up with a question. How has that evolved you?
When I first started it, I didn't think I would go this far, and I didn't think that anyone such as yourself would even say yes to me. I'm such a small little potato here who has done nothing much, who had no credibility or experience in that area. But then I thought to myself, like, if I didn't start, I wouldn't go anywhere. So I started anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I were to compare myself to like Stephen Bartlett, Oprah Winfrey, Mel Robbins, even the local Malaysian ones who have garnered so many followers and stuff like that, I'd be lying if I say I wouldn't want that. But at the same time, I don't think I can handle that either.
Ah,
You know?
that's a good one. You know what? I'm going to come back to you on the success because I do guard myself as well. I may set myself up for successes I know I can achieve.
Yes.
I'm safeguarding myself because the
Yes.
last thing I do is try to bite off too much that I can chew and then not make it and then feel like a failure, because I guess that was the evolution, right? I did so many of that is like, okay, fine, I should never do that. Yeah,
Yes,
I
yes,
feel you.
yes. So, how you open now about the evolution of your voice on and off stage and how using it for something bigger than yourself became the truest expression of fulfillment. And I'm very curious. Did you start in your early career in your life as an actor?
Okay, I'll just be very honest with you about the journey. And sometimes it's very hard to really figure things out. And I'm probably still figuring things out. But if I'm going to be honest with myself and you, the first time I was an actor was when I was a child. I was a very attention seeking child, being the eldest grandson and son. I always had the attention. And so I always craved it. You know what I mean? And then I brought that attention to my mother's dressing cabinet, where I used to rehearse things that I would say,
Mm.
and I used to dress up and things like that. And my sisters know, Nazira and Diana know, because they used to dress me up as well.
Mhm.
And, we used to play, that sort of thing. And when I was Spider-Man when I was a kid, the only difference was I didn't pretend I was Spider-Man. I was Spider-Man.
Wow.
And this was I played that seriously, kan,
Yeah.
at about 7, 8 years old, that sort of thing. And then something happened, like, okay, evolve, and then life took over and things like that. That energy never really left. Now, the thing is, much later, when I studied performance and I studied what it means to become an actor,
Mm-mm.
it's actually that. It's storytelling. Two people, this is theater. You and me, one person speaking, one person listening. As soon as there's an audience and there's something to be said, that's it. That's theater. You know what I mean? Whether the medium is live or whether the medium is like, on a Zoom call or whatever it is, this is the true essence of it. So, yes, I was always an actor, but I didn't know I was going to become an actor until accidentally I joined the theater program elective in my American degree program. That was a mistake. It was a complete fluke. And I was failing all subjects in my life. Yeah. Like, I was a horrible student. But as soon as I masuk theater, I started getting A's. And so, it dawned upon me that, oh, that's
Wow.
cool. It's an easy thing. And then my cikgu, this man called Ray, he opened a diploma in performing arts course in Sunway. And I was like in business school in the American degree program. And he came up to me and he was like, "You did so well last semester. You have to come and join my course." I said, "No, I can't, Ray. I'm interested in money. I'm interested in business." No, there's no money. There's no future in theater. There's no future in performing arts. Every time he passed by me at the canteen, at the foyer in Sunway, he would come and say the same thing. "You have to leave your course. You'll be doing a big mistake if you don't join me." I don't know, but he did it so many times. I think something suddenly my hati terbuka. I was like, okay lah, I'm not doing well in this American degree program anyways. I'm failing everything. A's I ever got elective classes,
Mm.
right?
Mm-mm.
So join je lah. And that's it. And I joined, and that really opened the whole world for me.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? And I think if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have become an actor per se. But I guess serendipity, that was something that was serendipity. It had to happen. And if you're asking me, my voice,
Uh-huh.
part of my voice, the belief in serendipity, right? And much later, and this is one more part of shaping my voice that I believe is the most important thing. So As I was growing up, being an attention seeking child, I was also brought up on a more religious perspective. My thought and all that were actually quite religious. And they were always telling me things like, we always do things for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We always do things for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So much so, my attention in life was always on a level where, I do things for the deed of Him without being, ikhlas lah. What's the word I'm looking for? Lillahi ta'ala.
A class.
Yeah, sincerity.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so ikhlas. Later in life, when I went to drama school, I actually went to like do my master's in acting. There were a lot of things to learn, ups and downs, and technique and all that is definitely something that shaped my voice.
Mm.
But the one that really did was this one performance that we had in England. What happened was we were in this play, and it was an amazing play, and I had such an amazing, opportunity to play two roles in a Tony Kushner play. In the same one, it was opening night,
Mm.
and we were also ready for it. And suddenly the director comes back half an hour before the show and says, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry, but we messed up the dates. There's nobody coming to watch the show today because it says that opening night's tomorrow, not tonight. So everybody who bought tickets for tomorrow night and not for tonight." And so nobody was coming to watch. But we all looked at each other, the cast, and we were like, you know what, let's do the show anyways. Let's just do the show without anyone watching. And I swear we did the show, and when we finished, it was such a cathartic moment. Everyone was breaking down crying. And I think for me, that was when I realized no matter what you do in life, you are always performing for that one person,
Yes.
and you are always performing for him. And that, no matter what, means that you have to jaga your seni moment to moment in
Wow.
your life.
Wow.
That is what shaped one of the things that shaped my voice. So serendipity, and of course technique, and me being an attention seeking child. But it wasn't at that moment that I realized, okay, performance, whatever we do in anything, our nawaitu has to be
Mm-mm.
connect. And then you better be damn class, because tak kisahlah siapa-siapa kat depan you, dia tahu.
Betul. Betul sangat. You give me goosebumps because I wouldn't be here today at my level because of him too. And I think the moment when I did to myself and I want to do this, I wanted to do to serve people. They know that they are not alone, they're not alone. Basically, they're not alone experiencing all these difficulties in life and all the challenges and whatnot. I think there is meaning in there that brought this day.
Yeah, I
And
think so too. And
then I
sorry.
think that performing and then that whole Nawaitu and that whole journey 5 years later, and to have this conversation with you that led me to you today and other people before you, also because of that one little Nawaitu.
Yeah, followed through.
I followed through,
Yeah,
yes.
completely agree. And you know what? It was also very apparent to me. One of the things that clicked me when I read your thing was you called your podcast He. And I was like, who is he, right?
Yes.
But actually, it has a lot to do with that. That's it. Totally down with that.
Yes, and he initially started with capital H and small letter E. And I
Yeah.
wanted it to be about a spiritual journey.
Of course.
I had to change a bit the whole branding because there will be more Muslim. But when I first started, there was a lot of followers of Jesus at that time.
Oh, yeah.
So I macam, ni tak boleh ni, takut Malaysian salah faham. Yes,
Oh,
I have those influences in my life, but I don't
okay.
mean it in that way. So I had to rebrand it. But you are right. When you are the first person to see HE as something ketuhanan or religious.
Everyone has their own religion per se. It's you. It's your ibadah to him. It's
Yes.
not.
Yes.
Yes, we have united education that we all have a
Yeah.
kesinambungan or whatever. But come on, at the end of the day, it's between you and him. There's nothing else. I'm big believer of that.
And then I think at the same time, no, it's not neutral. It's more, basically everyone can relate. If you're in this spiritual journey in whatever religion, if you're a Muslim, you can understand this as, that. Or if you are a follower of that, you can also think of that way, wherever you interpret it. And I feel we all have our own journey. We all have our spiritual faith in our life, that something to hold on to, basically.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you bring that out, how your experience as an actor and a cultural advocate shape your voice and your sense of purpose beyond the stage carries so much meaning in this conversation. I'm curious of that one moment or moments or decisions that led you to pursue something bigger other than your personal ambition. How did that change you? You're not just an actor, you've done so many other things. You did public service, you help people on the street, right? You opened a business, you have this restaurant. All of this led to one another.
Yeah.
In your pursuing all of these ambitions that you have along the way, how did this experience change you as a person?
It's very simple, actually. This I have to be very thankful for my ability to have traveled a lot. One thing about my life that I was very lucky was before I was 9 years old, I had already seen the whole of Malaysia
Mhm.
because my dad was a event organizer and he was also a consultant, so he brought me to places when he worked, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to spend time with him.
Mhm.
And so I went for work trips with him, and because of that I had seen every state in Malaysia. And later when I started working, I was brought to every single state in Malaysia. I think I have went around and round the country
Mhm.
so many times in my life, like countless, for all projects. It was always national projects. I mean, who goes to Romping?
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
and let's be honest with ourselves. Who goes to Pekan even? Like, if I did not had that one time, I had never gone to Pekan. You know what I mean? But at the same time, macam Sabah, you know what I mean? Who goes to a place called Tamparuli? You know what I mean?
Uh-uh.
Which is like Sabah is besar, and Sadakan and things like that. And I've been so lucky to have been everywhere, and I've seen our people, and I've grown with them. And there's things I love about us, and there's things I hate about us. And I put myself in there because I'm a product of a sekolah menengah kebangsaan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I traveled the world. I've seen the world, and I've seen how they behave. And there are things I love, and there's things I absolutely hate as well. So actually, I was almost not going to come back to Malaysia. There was a moment where I could have stayed in England, and I could have actually gotten married, and life would have been completely different. But I remembered my dad's word. It was, "You are strongest in your home country." And I didn't know what that meant. But I was just like, okay, it rang with me. Unfortunately, my girlfriend at the time didn't want to come back with me. So I was like, I guess I have to go home. It was either stay there and make a life there, and who knows what would have happened, or go home and make a change because of all these things that I have seen in the country that I love and I hate, and all these things I see in the country that I love and I hate as well. I just wanted to do it. I kind of did it for the country. And everything I do, aside from a Nawaitu that's always connected, that's something invisible. Every time I ask myself, what have you done for your country today? It's my jihad. And what have you done to better the lives of your fellow countrymen today?
Wow.
That is also my jihad. And that's why I started F Talent. I had a free acting school since 2014. And really all I wanted to see was an environment where theater actors or people who are inspired equipped with more knowledge and technology of how people, got it in abroad. You go to the UK, you go to the US, they're so well done with their performing arts, you know what I mean? And here there's a lack of discipline. Is this discipline? Actually it's not that we don't have talent. We have talent. Talents were not instilled with discipline, and that's not their fault. That's sekolah menengah kebangsaan's fault. My personal point of view.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let's give this training then, because then you can be better. And so for me, it's like, okay, that's what you do for your country today. And then what? Doing things like food reviews, telling more refined stories in food. All that is just doing something for your country, because over the past 10 years, we have really grown to see how people talk about food, and how people appreciate food. Today, I passed by Jemapo. There's something called sushi serunding. Have you heard of that? Sushi lemang serunding. In Jemapo, there's a wood-fire pizza oven that, can probably rival something like Roma Pizza or something like that.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love the fact that our people are doing things that are, next level, right?
Mm-mm.
Of course, that it can be done so much better, right?
Yeah.
Be part of that conversation. I think that was the defining moment of personal ambition. My personal ambition is doing something for my comrades every day. Lah.
Wow. Yes. Wow. We spoke about redefining success, how we translate success or define what success really is depends on the evolution, what is relevant today. If we don't stay current, we stay in the past, it's harder to move forward. In this journey, why is redefining success so important, especially in a world that often measures by fame, money, or visibility? Now, I must say, today it feels to me like talent is not enough. You gotta have some numbers. You gotta have numbers of followers, or maybe rich, or maybe this, and maybe that. A person like me, if I am talented, and if I can do this and I can do that, if I don't those measures, I cannot be successful. What do you think?
Riff, that is the story of my life. Okay. My father calls me a reluctant actor. Okay. Let's be honest. I myself don't have a huge Instagram following. In fact, amongst my peers, I probably have the least. The next thing is, amongst my peers, I also do not post up much.
Yeah.
And I think if you talk about money and success, I probably also have the least. And if you talk about the big cars, etc., etc.,
Yeah.
I really don't have that much. And when it comes to like kids, I don't have any. And I married a very lovely, simple girl whom we have a nice life together. I'm happy for that. I don't need to be with that supermodel and flaunt my wife. Some people say, oh, the girl is shows their confidence and things like that. Really just don't feel that. It's the measurement. I get you. It's the measurement,
Measurement.
but I'm like that. You know what I mean? So it is the story of my life. I didn't go out there and do all the tabloids and up my numbers, right? And all that. But I guess, when you talk about evolution and following the trend, right? And renewing yourself, sometimes you have to remember and you need to be brave to act upon this remembrance that you need to lawan arus. There's a lot of people who say, like, oh yeah, you want to follow the times, you want to be the best, you got to keep up with the times, you know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
Old people, if you don't keep up with the times, that's it. This is the time where you hear all these kind of advice from self-help pages flooding your Instagram. But for me, I picked up the wisdom from books before this time, of having all this noise around me. And I remember one thing back then is that the 1% is going complete other way from the 99%. And that is what defines success. So it's always about lawan arus, no matter how hard it is. If it means that you don't have what you don't have, you just don't have lah.
Mm-mm.
But you have to believe it has to feel right for you.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. This is why you are the voice of a generation, Razif. And I think you said it in the most wisest, yes. And I struggle with that personally. And the reason being is that because there's a lot of talent out there. If we look at every aspect of something without just the measures, we all can succeed in many forms. It doesn't matter because everyone has, their own traits or qualities that they can contribute to something.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
So that itself, to me, when the way you put it, I can reframe it that, I don't have to feel that small anymore.
Even the biggest people, right,
Huh.
can feel small at times. I don't know because we can never see everyone's head. All I remember is this lah. If we followed the wisdom of the past lah, right?
Mm,
When you also lawan arus, you also got to remember that if you are, a lot of people would disagree with you in life, and it's whether you can have the guts to allow the continue, being in that frame of disagreement.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Having everyone look at you like crazy. Like for example, Einstein, everybody thought he was crazy, but he's not. You know what I mean? It's that bravery lah
Yeah,
that needs
yeah,
to be there. And I think if there's any like unit or measure that I look at in anyone, I think is effort
yes,
and action. I
yeah.
don't put much in what people say. I really don't. In fact, I don't even need to hear what anyone has to say. Time will tell. Your actions will speak for you, and how much effort you put in it will show how far you get lah. Not money, not success, not cars, not visibility, but those three things: time, action, and money. Money pula. But I like money too, but then
Yes.
I'm not. That's not. I like money. I
I,
measure with that.
yeah,
Measure with effort.
I like money too, where it's just enough. Extra tak apa, tapi I like it. Speaking of which, I think when you spoke about being crazy, I think when I decided to get married, a lot of people think I'm crazy. But I think
Ah,
I'm not crazy because I knew what I got myself into. I think what's important here, what matters is the commitment when you are willing to put effort into that. That's what matters the most.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And you have done a lot. When I went through your podcast, punya channel, I was like, dude, you have done a lot. That is impressive. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I had no idea. It comes from Rahmah, I think, from God. If people ask me how did I do it, I don't know. I really don't know. Because
Buat je lah.
penat, weh,
No,
penat.
lah, buat je
Tapi
lah. But
siap
then
ah.
at the end of
Tapi
the day,
siap.
you have like contracts all sorted out,
Yeah, yeah.
you have like macam, systems. You've really automated things, with, I can see with like how you use your podcast system and things like that. So senang tau. Like for me even, nak jual tortilla pun tak ada contract. You know what I mean? Macam, wah, how many years have you done this?
I've done it 5 years, and I think ever since ChatGPT was introduced in November 2022, it made my job a lot easier. Everything was done without it 3 years, 4 years ago, and then I think the final season, with the help of ChatGPT, it makes my job a lot faster.
Good.
The transition, the evolution that we were talking about, with the help of these tools that still originally you, authentically you, because they're just a tool to help you to perhaps brainstorm, but still the screening with all this intuition, it has to be some sort of talent or naturally built around me where ChatGPT cannot help. I cannot just propose to you something that out of nowhere. understand you first, because Razif Hashim is Razif Hashim. Razif Hashim is not any person you meet on the street.
Yeah,
So
I do.
yes, we're all different. So in that sense, when we talk about redefining success, I think there is a path to finding a balance. So how do
Mm.
you balance public impact with your own personal fulfillment when the path isn't always clear?
Tak tahu macam mana nak jawab. Personal fulfillment is not something that I am entirely after. I get personally fulfilled by seeing good things that are happening with public impact, right?
Mm-mm.
So I guess personal fulfillment is when, I guess, like, okay, for example, public impact. Okay, so for example, one of my projects is Wine Kitchen, right?
Yes.
And I wanted to do something that is completely lawan arus with tourism Malaysia, and I did it. I started in 2019 against all odds. I made like 21 shows by 2021, even though most of it was had to be online, right? My point was to tell real Malaysian stories to a foreign audience. You know what I mean? Who always come here and then go for a cultural show that was like a buffet of everything, and then tarian joget about 10 times, tukar baju, and then at the end there's some guy with a sumpit pergi tembak balloon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's way of doing Malaysia truly Asia. And I was like, my God, we have so many more stories to tell.
Wow. Wow.
Like I start my shows with like, welcome, and here is a nasi lemak, right? By the way, did you know Malaysia is a very racist country? You can see it in our vernacular school systems. We have different systems.
Yeah.
We have vernacular political systems,
Yes.
right? It resembles the nasi lemak, because the nasi lemak will be the rice in the middle, and then you have different things. It's all separated. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And we like it like that. But the best way to eat a nasi lemak is to put it together in your mouth, is to have a little bit of everything and put it together in your mouth. And that's what
Yeah.
being a Malaysian. I'm not here to be malicious towards the country. As you know, I love my country. And so I just want to tell stories from angles that are much more realistic. Jangan nak tipu diri sendiri. This is the thing. And so if you talk about that, making that public impact, saying things that are quite pedas lah, you know what I mean? And actually getting through to people, that is where my personal fulfillment is lah. Whether it brings me money or not, or whether it gives me projects or not, or respect or not, I guess that one you just have to, that's the part where it's not a clear path, and you just got to keep walking. Basically, you just got to keep walking.
I think, Razif,
Yeah.
I think it speaks for itself. Whatever that you've done, I see you. It
Mm.
speaks for itself. I think you don't give yourself credit that you deserve. I think I see you. Everything that you did, I see you. I see you. Occasionally, I see you until I saw you online. I'm like, this is the Razif I know. Your visibility is there. Your successes are there. Are very out there. And I think you've done a lot too. And I'm very proud of someone like you who cares about what the country is all about, the work that you do, the public services, and everything that you do revolves around not just for you, other than God or other than for your faith, but also the people in Malaysia. That's what makes it more sincere in so many sense, because a lot of people are now doing it for other reasons, for virality, for fame, for some heinous reason behind it. But as long as diorang ada audience, dia buat juga. Tapi I think what matters here is now, when you do something like this, you attract the right people. Hence, you got collaboration, work with Tourism Malaysia, you do this and you do that. You will always stay relevant because of you.
Thank you.
And I said it bukan nak bodek. Satu, you mentioned about tipu diri sendiri. Being in the industry, I think there's a lot of being tipu sendiri satu, and then shock sendiri. Lepas tu, ke hulu ke hilir, dia ten kosong je basically. Takat masuk mangga jadi bahan tabloid, that's it.
Oh.
And there's no meaning, and there's people like you will not experience that, because your personal fulfillment comes from within. That's what makes it more meaningful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seemingly, we're on this very deep conversation. I mean, I'm happy, to be honest, to just say that, not everyone has it together, which means that thank you for seeing what you see. I really appreciate that you see what I do. I really do, because honestly, I wonder sometimes whether people do. You know what I mean? And I say that, never mind, kita jalan je, tak kisah orang nampak ke tak. Tapi when you actually stop to say that, I really feel there is a sense of accomplishment that I feel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You are next in line to Henry Golding.
But I did No, I wasn't
Oh
not
no
in
no
that
no
movie.
no, that is Go and Ginchu. Okay, sorry sorry.
Yeah, but Henry wasn't there. But it's interesting. It's interesting that you mentioned Henry Golding. It was we kind of trade places.
Ah, that's what I meant.
It was a very interesting moment in life
Hmm.
where I made a choice to go study in the UK, and Henry had come from the UK to live in Malaysia to connect with his roots, make work here happen. And I was the host of the 8TV Quickie,
Mhm.
and I was leaving, and they needed to find a replacement, and they were going to prime Henry. And so I left, and Henry joined the 8TV Quickie. And then
Ah,
I went the way of the student and the theatre artist punya budak. I completely shut myself out from anything because I was a student. And then Henry built himself,
yeah.
from there.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a very interesting thing. And when I got back, I managed to work with him as well. And
Yeah.
that was nice
Wow.
because I hardly got to meet him at all. But yeah, that was that, man.
Yeah, that's it. It speaks for itself. I told you.
I know.
Is that your surprising part of using your voice for something greater? And how has that transformed your leadership in this journey?
If you talk about leadership, right?
Mm,
I think I have not used my voice. I think I lost my voice
mhm,
over the past years. I still speak loudly, but I things have become unclear for me. And I think it was because I really transitioned myself from person from the entertainment industry to someone who was really starting to focus on doing more difficult things. I think they're difficult because I wasn't, naturally born with skills in it. Building businesses is not easy. And I'm finally trying to get the hang of it. And it's interesting that you mentioned leadership because leadership only started coming to me properly maybe the past 3 years.
mhm,
All the times before, my failures in my businesses, I think, has to do with my lack of skills to become a good leader or a respectable leader. I was someone that was easy to be admired, but probably not easy to follow as a worker or someone who wants to complete a project. It was always that. So I guess in that note, maybe losing my voice was what helped me become a leader. It taught me to shut up a lot more actually and listen. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what it is.
Yes. Having a voice is also learning to listen too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Well said, Razif. Before we end the conversation, Razif Hashim, what are your hopes and dreams for yourself, for the communities you serve, and for how future generations will define success in their own terms?
For me, I just want to just see whatever it is. If I can materialize everything that I have in my head, that is what I hope for myself. And whether they're big or they're small, I'm just gonna go for it. And I hope I can get as much done and have a really fruitful journey ahead as I wish for everybody else. And on that note, I just hope that the country gets its act together. I hope that people would stop believing, be so gullible and get scammed all the time. I hate to hear all these sad stories. I want people to just get smarter, wiser, and just be top notch level so that Malaysia can really just be the highest. We have the potential and stop being so lazy and let's make it happen because we have the ability and the resources and everything. It's just don't be so malas, you know what I mean?
I
And
know.
yeah, for future generation also, let's make it happen, guys.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't come back for nothing lah. Sometimes I ask myself, oh shit, what happened if I stayed over there? You know what I mean? No lah, but it's not about that. It's yeah, let's just get shit done, guys.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I believe you're making a difference. Coming home,
Yeah.
you're serving a purpose. And Razif Hashim, you are an inspiration to me. Thank you so much for joining me in this conversation.
Thank you, Rifi, for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to He. A new episode is available every Thursday, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We'd love to hear from you. Follow me on social media at Rafi Ridzwan and at He Podcast for all the updates and behind the scenes. Once again, thank you for listening to He with Rafi Ridzwan.